How many bank accounts should I have if I want to manage my business responsibly? I'm so glad you're asking that question. There are a ton of answers out there, and I'm going to give you what I think is the simplest answer that you can actually implement this week. Let's dive in. So today I'm going to show you the 3 business bank accounts you should have if you want to manage your business simply and responsibly. Next, we're going to look at how to actually use those accounts. I see a lot of people who will have their different bank accounts set up, but they're not actually using them in the way that they intended when they first opened them up. We're going to see how simple it can be. Finally, I'm going to show you how this system changes as your business grows in complexity. Often there are a few extra accounts that more complex businesses need, and I'll show you how that system works as well. First, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. You might be listening to this right now and be in this boat where you only have one business bank account. I don't want to make you feel bad. That's not what we're here for. I'm going to show you that there's a better way, because right now, if you only have that one account, it probably feels like pure chaos. There's money going in, there's money going out, there's some money in there, but you don't know how much of it is actually yours. And then tax time comes and all of a sudden, whoop, the government is yanking out a bunch of that money. And you're like, no, I thought I was doing so much better. There is a better way. There are 3 accounts that I want you to have open. We're going to go to the board now and look at them. All right, so these 3 accounts, every business needs to have no matter what, okay? The first one, we're going to call OPEX. This is your operating account or operating expenses account. All the money going into the business comes in here, and all the money going out the business also comes out of there, okay? So this operating account is your main checking. It's probably the main account that you've got right now. On top of that, we need a tax account. Now, why would I want to have a tax account? Well, imagine that you get to the end of the year and the government says, great job, you've had such an amazing year, now pay us $20,000. And you expected that to be the working capital money in here. It gets very painful if we don't have it set aside in a separate tax account. I get a lot of questions too around if this should be a personal account or a business account. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter, because as you'll find if you watch the rest of our tax videos, which by the way, you should subscribe to the channel if you want to see all of those, you ultimately pay taxes personally. If you are an LLC or an S Corp, you are responsible for tax payments. So it should actually be coming out of your bank account in most scenarios. And so I see people who have this as a personal savings or a business savings. I'll just tell you my preference is to keep it in the business until it's time to actually pay it to the government. Then I make a transfer to my personal account and pay taxes from there. Your CPA might give you different advice. They might tell you, oh, it's fine to pay it out of the business. Cool, go with what your CPA says, but just know that ultimately this is still a personal expense. It cannot be a business write-off. So we have the tax account. The final one I call growth. This is a flexible account that I'll show you how we use it in a minute, but ultimately we're putting a percentage of our money in here every month to use for the future growth of our business and personal finances. So let's look at an example here to see where I move money each month and maybe even how frequently I should move it. I'll tell you, a lot of business owners feel like they need to move money every couple of days, or I've even seen people moving it daily. Oh, I would hate the headache of that. I hate having to look over my shoulder every week and see like, oh, do I have enough money in the operating account or not? I actually prefer to only move money once a month. And if you look at our video where we teach the wealth waterfall system of how to manage all of this, we actually do show a monthly rhythm that you can go through to make sure you're managing money the right way. But I'll just tell you the simple version is that we want 30% of our profit to go here into taxes each month, and somewhere between 3 and 5% of our overall income or revenue to go into this growth account every month. Now, whether you choose to do that weekly, every other week, or monthly is up to you, but if we can be consistent with this, that's what actually counts. So my process for this every month would be I look at my profit and loss statement, I see what my net profit or net income is on there, and I save my 30%. And then I look at my top line, I look at revenue, and I say, all right, I'm going to pay 3 or 5% of that revenue into my growth account. Well, then you're asking, what do I use this growth account for, Alex? I'm so glad you asked. So let's look at every quarter, what I like to do with this account. There are 2 things. One, I am paying out an owner's bonus to myself. Or number 2, I am rolling the money from my growth account back up into my operating account as working capital. You should check out our other videos on our channel where we teach about working capital and how much you should have in reserves, but I'll put that money back up into there so that it can keep working for me. There's one other place where I'll put that money as well, and that is in future business growth investments. So we'll just call it investing. Now, that might look like a hire, it might look like coaching, it might look like a new vehicle or a piece of equipment. Anything that I want to save for, maybe it's continuing education. I'm going to save a little bit of money for that. Now, you get to decide on this. It's not like you have to have a 30-30-30 split, but you get to feel out for the business what makes sense right now. If you have these 3 accounts at a minimum and you're using them in this way, you will be well on your way to feeling very in control of your finances as a business owner. Now, there is a little bit more nuance as we get into more advanced businesses. If you're in the 7-figure range, or maybe you're not even there yet, but you're looking at having lots of cash on hand, you might not want to have all of that cash sitting up here in an operating account. Once we have about 1 month's worth of your expenses up here, then we want to start looking at having a separate reserves account. This account for me is no money. Reserves is like the stuff that I am not touching because it is break glass in case of emergency kind of money. You can use this however you want, but I do recommend that if you have more than 1 to 2 months of expenses, we start putting the rest of it down here in a separate account so that you don't get tempted to spend it, because it's very easy to spend this money up here. The other account that sometimes owners need is a separate owner compensation account. I don't recommend that for most owners because usually they're just doing a either direct deposit out of here into their personal account, or they're getting paid through W-2 payroll, so it might not make sense. The case where it does is if you have business partners. For example, we have a 50-50 business partnership. And so my business partner has an owner comp account and I have an owner comp account, and I make the split out to each of those. And then we can say, you know what? You pay yourself whenever you want from the business. The money is in your account to take when you're ready. Not all businesses need that. If you have a partnership, I do find that that makes it a little bit more easy to manage money amidst multiple people. The final account that I see business owners opening is a separate income account or a separate kind of revenue holding account. Some business owners get a little bit nervous thinking about giving their clients or vendors access to this bank account to give them money. So if you have clients that are paying you via direct deposit and you have to give them a bank account number, sometimes I will see this holding account up here, and you can give your clients that number and then you sweep all of that money from your income account over into your operating account. Whether that's a daily basis or a monthly might not matter. I do see some business owners that prefer that. However, you might be seeing all this and feeling like, this is so complex. What bank do I do this at? Savings or checking accounts? I'll just tell you, this one needs to be a checking account. The rest can often be savings accounts, although sometimes you'll need a checking account up here. Here's the thing. Don't overcomplicate this for your business. Get the minimum viable, necessary bank accounts, starting with these 3 for sure. And it's less about the bank accounts for me and more about the discipline of telling your money where to go instead of being completely pulled by the whims of whatever is sitting in one account. Get more organized. I promise you, you will sleep better at night. Your accountant will love you when they tell you how much you owe in taxes and you say, wonderful, I've got that in my tax account. And if you have a spouse, they will thank you for being so organized in the business. And guess what? You might choose to do something similar in your personal finances as well. So now there's one lingering question. Alex, you said everything here, but there's one big missing piece. Getting myself paid as an owner. How do I do that? And how do I know how much I can pay myself? Well, we've created a really cool tool called our Paycheck Predictor, along with an entire workshop showing you how do we use this system in concert with making sure that you can get paid and understanding how much you can pay yourself every single month. I'll leave the link to that below in the description. I want you to click on that, download the training, and most importantly, actually use the Paycheck Predictor. It's an amazing tool where you can plug in your numbers every single month and see exactly what you can afford to pay yourself, exactly how much to save for taxes, and just how much you should save for future business growth. It will make this training stick for you and be such a valuable tool for the long term. We're grateful to have your time and attention on the channel. Can't wait to see you in the next video.